Pull out your air fryer basket and turn it over. Look at the bottom. If there is a dark tacky brown coating down there that has been there so long you have honestly stopped noticing it, this video is for you. You have probably tried to deal with it before. The dish soap that just slid right over it. The overnight soak that came out looking exactly the same as it went in. Maybe one of those pricey kitchen degreasers that cost more than the basket did and still left most of the grime behind, along with a faint smell and a few new scratches. At some point, a lot of people just give up on it. The basket works, the food cooks, and you quietly hope nobody opens the drawer when they are over for dinner. It feels like the grime won, and that no amount of money or effort is ever going to get that surface back. But the reason none of it worked has nothing to do with how hard you tried or which product you bought. It is about something happening to that grease at a level you cannot see, that almost nobody stops to explain. In Korea, this is understood completely differently, and the air fryers there stay clean with no scrubbing and nothing harsh involved at all. So why does the rest of the world keep going at this with a scouring pad and a bottle of solvent? When Korea worked out a long time ago, that force was never the answer. To understand the fix, you first have to understand the grease itself, because it is not what you think it is. Every time something greasy cooks inside an air fryer, whether it is chicken wings, strips of bacon, or a basket of fries, tiny droplets of oil splatter across the surface. The heating element pushes that oil past its smoke point, and at that temperature, something irreversible happens. The oil molecules bond to the nonstick coating through a process called polymerization. They fuse together and harden into a dark rubbery film that behaves more like plastic than grease. This is the important part. That dark layer is not a surface stain sitting on top of the basket. It is a chemical transformation. It is the exact same process that builds up the seasoning on a cast iron skillet. Except on a non-stick surface, it is working against you. That polymerized layer traps food particles, starts to smoke, and makes the air fryer harder to use every single time. And this is exactly why scrubbing fails. You are not wiping grease off a surface. You are trying to tear a layer that is chemically welded to the coating. When you take an abrasive pad to it, you do strip some of the grease, but you also strip the non-stick layer underneath, exposing rougher material that gives the next round of oil even more to grab onto. So every scrubbing session quietly makes the next one worse. A rougher surface collects more grease, which bonds harder, which makes you scrub harder. It is a loop that only goes one direction. The harsh chemical degreasers are not much better. They contain solvents strong enough to break some of those bonds, but those same solvents attack the non-stick coating itself. You end up with a basket that is a little cleaner today and noticeably more damaged tomorrow. You are trading the long-term health of the basket for a short-term win. Korean home cooks approach this from a completely different direction. And it comes down to a principle in the way Korean households think about the home. There is an idea called 정리 정돈, which loosely means tidying and arranging. It is the understanding that cleanliness is something you maintain in small, constant motions, not something you restore in one giant battle. And there is the everyday instinct people describe as PP ali, PP ali, quick, handling a small thing now, before it has the chance to become a big thing. Put those together and the whole strategy changes. You do not fight polymerized grease with friction. You stop it from polymerizing in the first place. And when it does build up, you let chemistry do the work instead of your arm. And the prevention half is so simple it barely sounds like a method. In a Korean kitchen, the air fryer does not get the chance to build up that hardened layer because it gets wiped while the grease is still fresh. Right after cooking, while the basket is still warm to the touch, you run a damp cloth across the inside for about 60 seconds. That is the whole daily habit. The warmth lifts the fresh oil away before it ever cools and bonds to the coating. Fresh oil comes off in seconds with nothing but a cloth. The dark polymerized layer is simply fresh oil that nobody wiped, left to harden cook after cook. Deal with it while it is soft and the hard version never forms. That is the PPLE instinct in practice. Handle the small thing now so it never becomes the big one. But most of us are not starting from a clean basket. We are starting from months, maybe years, of buildup that has already hardened into that rubbery film. So the real question is, how you get an already ruined basket back, without scrubbing and without wrecking the coating. That is where the chemistry comes in, and it works in 3 stages. The method uses 3 ingredients that are in nearly every kitchen on Earth: baking soda, white vinegar, and a fresh lemon. None of them are harsh, none of them will hurt the coating, and on their own, none of them are special. What makes this work is not the ingredients, it is the sequence. Each one targets a different stage of the grease, and the order and the timing are the entire secret. The baking soda is a mild alkaline that breaks down the molecular bonds. The vinegar reacts with it to produce carbon dioxide bubbles that physically lift the loosened particles. And the lemon brings citric acid that cuts the top layer of oil and kills any lingering odor. Apply them in the wrong order, and you get a fizzy mess. Apply them in the right order, at the right temperature, and the grease comes off on its own. The method starts with something most cleaning approaches never consider. It uses the air fryer's own heat to do the first stage of work. Take a small oven-safe ceramic ramekin, fill it with water, and drop in half a fresh lemon. Set it inside the basket. Now, one important note before you run it. Check your air fryer's manual first, because running the unit with just a water dish inside is a short steam cycle, not normal cooking. And you want to use a moderate temperature for a few minutes rather than blasting it at maximum. A short cycle is all you need. As it runs, the water releases steam inside the closed chamber, and the lemon infuses that steam with citric acid. That hot acidic steam circulates across every surface of the basket and works its way underneath the hardened grease, loosening its grip on the coating from below. This is the stage almost everyone skips. Instead of attacking the grease from above with force, you are attacking it from below with heat and acid, turning a fused layer into a loose one. And here is the small detail that makes the difference between this working and falling flat. When the cycle finishes, leave the basket closed for 2 more minutes. The leftover heat keeps working its way into the grease layer. Skip those 2 minutes, and you weaken every step that follows. Patience here is doing real work. Now the basket comes out warm, not hot, but still radiating heat from the steam. Mix a thick paste of baking soda and a little warm water and spread it across the entire surface, pressing it into the corners and the mesh where the buildup is heaviest. And here is where the Korean approach goes against everything you have been taught. There is no scrubbing, none. The paste just sits on the warm surface, and the chemistry does the work where you cannot see it. The warmth radiating from the basket keeps the baking soda active and speeds up the reaction against the steam-loosened grease. On a cold surface, this would crawl along at half speed and leave residue behind. On a warm one, the alkaline goes after every remaining bond between the grease and the coating. Give it a full 15 minutes, untouched. Do not check it. Do not rinse it. Do not poke at it. The reaction needs the whole window. And then comes the part that honestly looks more like a science demonstration than a chore. Spray white vinegar evenly across the baking soda, and it triggers an immediate fizzing reaction. Carbon dioxide gas erupts as the acid meets the alkaline, and those tiny bubbles do something genuinely clever. Each bubble forms underneath a loosened grease particle and pushes it upward, away from the surface. You can watch it happen in real time. Dark brown residue rises up into the white foam. That is polymerized grease that was bonded to the basket a few minutes ago, now floating on a layer of bubbles with nothing holding it down anymore. Think about that for a second. The grease that survived dish soap, survived an overnight soak, survived expensive degreasers and aggressive scrubbing, just lifted away on its own, because 3 kitchen ingredients were applied in the right order at the right temperature. The fizzing settles after 3 to 5 minutes. Then a soft microfiber cloth under warm water passes across the surface one time. One pass. The grease comes away completely because it is no longer attached to anything. Steam loosened it from below. Baking soda dissolved its bonds. Vinegar floated it to the top. By the time the cloth touches it, the grease was already gone. Rinse the basket under warm water, dry it with a clean towel, and it looks the way it did the day it came out of the box. The coating is intact, the mesh is clear, and the surface that was buried under months of darkened oil is smooth to the touch. But the basket is only part of the job. Every air fryer has pieces that collect grease in places no cloth can reach. The drip tray, the wire rack, the separator inserts with their narrow grooves and tiny mesh. The Korean approach handles all of them at once with sealed bag chemistry. Put every removable piece into a large sealable plastic bag with hot water, a few spoons of baking soda, and a splash of white vinegar. Seal it right away. The carbon dioxide from the reaction inflates the bag slightly, creating a gently pressurized little chamber where the fizzing concentrates directly onto every surface. That enclosed environment forces the reaction into the slots and the mesh that a brush would never reach, no matter how small. 30 minutes later, each piece rinses clean under warm water, completely smooth, no residue, and no film. Months of buildup gone without a single piece being scrubbed by hand. And that is the part worth holding on to. This deep clean, the steam and the paste and the fizz, is really a rescue. It is what you do once to undo years of grease that nobody wiped in time. The actual goal is to never need it again. Once that basket is back to bare, clean coating, the 60-second warm wipe after each cook is all that stands between you and ever doing this again. You're not buying a better product or a stronger chemical. You're just refusing to let the grease win that first night. The way a Korean kitchen refuses every single day. So here is the whole thing together. Burnt-on grease resists scrubbing because it is chemically bonded to the coating, not just sitting on top of it, which means force was always the wrong tool. The fix is 3 harmless ingredients in a specific order. Steam with lemon to loosen the grease from underneath. A warm baking soda paste to dissolve the bonds. A spray of vinegar to float the grease up and off. A sealed bag to handle every removable part at once. And then the 60-second daily wipe that means you almost never need any of it again. No sore hands, no scratched basket, no harsh chemicals near the surface that cooks your food. If this changed how you understand your kitchen, subscribe. And if you want to see the same Korean approach applied to the one fixture in your home that everyone dreads cleaning, our video on how Korean toilets stay white without scrubbing is on screen right now.